Hey guys, welcome back to Historically Fashioned. My name is Annie, and today is another Friday Sews video. Yay! Now, I didn't think that I was actually going to have time to film one of these this week, but I found myself with a little extra time after my appointment this afternoon and thought I would go ahead and see if I could squeeze one in. Full disclosure, today is actually Thursday, not Friday, but hopefully I will have this up tomorrow. I just know I will not have any time at all to film tomorrow, as it is the reception for the museum exhibit on my dad. So let's go ahead and get started. I think we're going to start with what I have actually brought into my sewing room this week. Now, it's not a whole lot. It's not super exciting stuff. It's stuff that we all need to have. Some of them are my favorite things. Some of them are just things that I need to have. So I was at Joann's the other day. We all know Joann's is out of thread. I needed more thread for my serger. But, you know, I can't really buy it at Joann's. They've been out of thread for like a month now, now that they are, liquidating everything. So I went on to my most favorite place for notions, actually, which is Wawak. If you have not gone on to Wawak, what are you doing with your life? They are absolutely incredible. I have been using them for several years now. It's where I get my um, you know, pattern paper, my alphanumeric dot paper, whatever it's called. I get my pattern paper there. That's where I prefer to buy serger thread because it's a lot less expensive. Thread in general is a lot less expensive. And really basically all of those kind of notions and sundries, they pretty much have everything. I got my iron there, which is one of my best purchases ever. So yeah, Wawak is incredible for sewing supplies in general. They've got everything you can think of. So yeah, if you haven't been there, check them out. I will put a link to the shop down in the description below. So I needed a few things from Wawak. As previously mentioned, I bought a bunch of thread, so I'll show you guys that in a minute. I've got everything else on top of it. We will start with tracing paper, pattern, transfer paper. So as you may or may not remember, I had purchased some wax-free tracing paper from Joann a few weeks ago, and I had never used their brand, the Fabony brand. I can now confirm this right here, garbage, hot garbage. It does nothing. Nothing comes off. I tried with my, oh, what are those things, rolly, the little rolly things, I tried a smooth one, I tried a pokey one, I tried a really pokey one. Yeah, this trash, nothing came off. So I have 4 packages of that, I think, that just need to go in the trash. It's trash. Didn't even come off on my hands. It was awful. So I bought a couple packages of the Dritz double-faced, double-sided tracing paper from Wawak. This stuff has never let me down. It is great for transferring marks from your pattern onto your fabric. Doesn't set with the iron, brushes away real easily, washes out. Like I said, never has let me down. So I bought a couple packages of that because I'm in need. Was also in need of some new scissors. So I have issues with the nerves really everywhere. I have problems, in my shoulders, everywhere, really. My feet. My nerves run really close to the surface, so any pressure, prolonged pressure on them, causes my hands or arms or thumbs or toes to just fall asleep. So I like to use spring-loaded scissors. Now I have had these for ages. They're just a Fiskars scissor, and I have loved them. The they're spring-loaded, so they don't put any pressure on my finger and on my thumb, because that's where I really have a problem. And because of the design of the handle, you know, I don't have anything pressing on the top of my thumb. So these have been my go-to favorite scissors for a long time. The catch on this is starting to go, so I will close them up and then they will just spring open all on their own, and I'm always concerned they're going to be sitting somewhere like on my table and maybe one of the cats is up there and it springs open and hurts them. So I bought a new pair of Fiskars. They are designed a little bit differently, but I am hoping, I haven't opened them up yet, that they will behave just as well as the original pair that I had. So yeah, I got those, very happy with those. And then everything else in here is thread. So I've got a lot of serger thread. I needed some new cones of serger thread. And then I just ordered some regular sewing thread. I ordered black, red, pink, and a few different shades of navy. Now, I'm just going to say I'm one of probably the few people around, few sewists around that I can think of. I don't mind a Coats and Clark's thread. I really don't. I know a lot of people prefer like a Gutermann, you know, or like a more expensive thread, but I really don't mind a Coats and Clark's. I have used this since I started sewing, when that's just what there was. So this is just all-purpose polyester thread. Now, I sew mostly on vintage machines. I do have some modern machines, but mostly I do most of my sewing on vintage machines. And vintage machines are designed to work with thread that is wound around the spool like this and not cross wound like it is on Gutermann thread. So I just find that this thread feeds through my machines a lot better. I don't get lint buildup. I've never had a problem with the threads breaking on me. There is no reason that I need to spend a lot of money on thread when this works just fine. So I have ordered some of those, like I said. That is my wall walk order. And then I ordered from two different places. I was doing some seam ripping the other day, as I tend to do a lot of seam ripping. And I noticed my seam ripper was so dull. I was having problems getting through the stitches. So I decided I needed some new seam rippers. I like to have multiples. All of mine are dull. I don't remember the last time we replaced them, so I ordered a couple of different seam rippers. The first one I ordered is just this wooden handled one that I got off of Amazon, and I am actually pleasantly surprised with this. That is just, you know, a regular seam ripper up there, but it is sharp. It cuts those threads really well, and the point is really pointy, which is nice because it gets in underneath those threads without any issues. Side note, Luna, my kitten, loves this part, and so I have to fight her when I am seam ripping with this. That is seam ripper number one that I ordered from Amazon. I will put the link to everything, the wall walk to that on Amazon, and to this seam ripper that I ordered off of Etsy. I'll put all those links down below. So yeah, this is the one I ordered off of Etsy. I've wanted one of these for a while. I believe it's a resin handle, and it is one of those ones that has the awl on one end and the seam ripper on the other, and they come out. The great thing about these is these end bits are actually replaceable. So when your seam ripper starts to get dull, you can order a replacement for it, and you don't need to reorder the whole thing. So that's super exciting. So yeah, I ordered that. And that is pretty much everything that has come into my sewing room this last week. Let's go ahead and talk about finished projects. So what did I finish last week? As you can see, I did indeed finish my Betty Boop night and day dress. I absolutely adore this dress. Hopefully I will have gotten some pictures of me in it so that you can see it in action, so to speak. I really, really, really love this dress. The only thing I'm going to say is an issue with this dress is the neckline. So I cannot wear my regular vintage style bra with this, because the way those bras are designed, they have very full coverage cups, and you can see a whole lot of cup right here underneath this neckline. And you can pretty much see the straps because the straps are very, very wide as well. Now, most of Charm's patterns, Gertie's patterns, or Patreon patterns, they really are designed to go over vintage style undergarments. The darts, you wind up with a very pointy dart, and they are much longer than modern darts. You can see that my dart actually ends way up here. Now, her apex is in a different place than mine. She's a different size than me, obviously. But they are quite long, and they go up basically right up to the apex of the bust, because they are designed to go over that kind of pointier style bra. So I can't really wear this with any of the bras that I already have because they show or they are not the right shape. So I have ordered a goddess longline bra. The first one I ordered came in and I put it on, and it was too big. Even though I ordered my regular size, I thought that like looking at the sizings, they say it runs small, but I just like, oh, I'm going to order my regular size. And like I said, that one wound up to be too big for me. So I have reordered. It's supposed to come today. So hopefully, like I said, I will be able to get some photos. I will say that the dress looks so good over that bra. I think once I have the right fit, it is going to be amazing. So this is all ready for me to wear tomorrow. Absolutely love this. I made a size 10 with the right? EF cup. So size 10 at the top with an EF cup, graded out to a size 14 at the waist. I didn't make any other alterations other than to grade between those two sizes. I made it exactly as it came out of the pattern. And I, like I said, am absolutely thrilled with it and cannot wait to wear this tomorrow. I think my dad would have absolutely loved this dress. And I am actually going to definitely be making more of these dresses. However, I'm going to make them probably with the higher round neck, just because I plan to wear them when I go to Disney World, and I don't want to wear a long line bra in Disney World. That is just not going to happen. I will be so miserable if I have to do that. So we're going to go ahead, I think, and make them, as much as I love a square neck, I love how I think it's a very flattering look on me. I think I'm going to go ahead and make the round neck bodice for the next iteration of this dress. But everything else will be the same. I'm going to go ahead and do the short sleeves as well as the flared skirt. So absolutely love this. We'll be making many, many more. And can I just say, you probably aren't going to be able to see this. Come on. My zipper went in absolutely beautifully. It is perfectly lined up back here. That never happens. I did use a vintage zipper. It is a nylon coil one, but it is a vintage zipper that I had here in my stash. So that is that make finished. And then the second one is the one I am wearing. I will go ahead and put photos of it up here as well. So this is the Tiana Closet Ezra tie waist midi dress. I talked about this in last week's Friday Sews. This was my entry into Sew Frugal for this year. I wound up with this pattern because, frankly, I ran out of time to do anything else. I chose it because it is super, super simple. In looking at the instructions and everything, I was like, oh, I can whip that in no problem. And I was right. I would have completely finished this in one day if I had started earlier in the day, but I didn't get started on actually sewing this up until it was like around like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So I sewed, for a couple hours, then picked it up on Saturday last week and managed to get it all finished and sewn up on Saturday. Very, very easy. It is just two pattern, well, technically I guess there's 5 pattern pieces, but you've got front, which is, you cut double, so it's not cut on the fold. It's got a seam down the center front. Same with the back. If your back has a seam down the center back, You have the waist ties, and then you have your front and back neckline facing. The most difficult part of this entire sew was the neckline facing, which really wasn't that hard at all. The only reason it can be difficult is because you do have that V neck. Now, honestly, if you just make sure you mark out where your stitching line is on your facing when you go to sew it in, you will get a perfect V with no problems whatsoever. So I did make a 3XL in this dress, which is, I think, the second size. I think it goes up to a 5XL. So I made a 3XL in this. I probably could have gone down a size. I think that I do have quite, there's quite a bit of ease in this. It's cut a little bit low on the armholes, but that doesn't bother me too much. It covers my bra. My slip is there, so whatever. I always wear a slip under dresses. I'm not worried about it. And I think this would be great as a layering piece. You could really layer this, over a mock turtleneck, even something with a kind of crew neck. And with long sleeves, this would be great for, the transitional weather. Yeah, so it's really, really great. I used a mid-weight black linen that I've had in my stash for ages that came from fabricstores.com. My only go-to place for plain linen. I love them. So yeah, I'm really, really pleased with this. It's a very different style from what I usually wear, but I can definitely see myself wearing this a lot. I've actually worn it twice this week already. I wore it to a doctor's appointment the other day, and then I had a wash, and I wore it today to a meeting that I had to go to. So yeah, I really, really like this dress. I could see myself making more and adding more of these to my wardrobe at some point. And again, this is a really simple sew, sews up really, really quickly. And I think it looks great. I think it's super flattering. It'll be great for the warm weather coming up. And I think just a great toss it on, leave the house kind of dress when you don't want to put too much thought into something. That is all the garment sewing I've done. I did go ahead, I think in last week's video, I also talked about needing to make up some little badges that are based on this little shirt that I wore when I was, 4 to I make up some badges for tomorrow, so for Friday, the museum exhibit. So I did manage to get those done. I used Canva, I took a picture, took the background out, used Canva to add the background back in and add the text that says I belong to Bun on it. So I got those finished. There should be enough here. I've made about 25 of them. So there should be enough there for any of the family members who show up to the exhibit tomorrow. That is everything that I have made. As far as what my plans are for next week, I do want to get started on my Sew April blouse project. So for that, I am going to use the Lydia Naomi Daisy frock. So you can either make a blouse or a dress out of this, and you can either have little strappy straps or you can have sleeves. I plan to make the sleeves, so this view here, but just as a blouse. And to do that, I am going to use this fabric that I have had in my stash. I purchased this fabric last year for my So Fruity entry. I purchased 8 yards. I still have 4.5 yards of this left. I had used, just 3.5 yards last year for a picnic skirt, which is a free pattern from Charm Patterns. So I love that skirt. It's super cute, super comfortable, and I'm going to make this little top to go over it. I think it'll be an adorable little set. And this is also going to serve as a toile so that if I like the pattern and that fits well, I'm going to go ahead and make the dress version out of some of my Disney fabrics. I'm going to have to do a Disney plans video at some point. But yeah, that is plan number 1. So I'll need to get that pattern all traced out, get that cut out, and hopefully get that sewn up next week. The second one I am planning to do, because I really, really want to get this done talked about it in, I think my plans for March, but for reals now, I'm going to get this sewn up. This is my Spoonflower Queen of Hearts fabric that matches perfectly with my hot chocolate design shoes that are Alice in Wonderland. I love this fabric so much. I love my shoes so much. I have not had a chance to wear them yet. That will obviously go with me to Disney. So I'm going to get that fabric sewn up this week, and I'm going to go ahead and make another night and day dress, but this time with that round neckline. And I think I'm actually going to line this version and maybe put a little ruffle on the skirt lining so that I don't have to wear a petticoat with it to get that cute poof that I want from the dress. So that is everything for this week. I have managed to keep it under 30 minutes, but I'm still at 20 minutes, so I'm going to say goodbye now. I want to thank you for spending some time with me. I would love to hear what you are working on this week, next week, this month, what you've finished. I would absolutely love to hear that because, again, I am very nosy. So go ahead and leave it down in the comments. Tell me what you think. Also, if you have any good recommendations for vintage style, bras that are, one, comfortable, not scratchy, because I did notice that about the Goddess. It's kind of scratchy. It's kind of scratchy. I don't know how I'm going to manage to wear that all day, but kind of scratchy. If you have any vintage style bra recommendations, I would love that. I've looked around and haven't found any that, really strike my fancy. So I would love to hear if you have any recommendations for those. And again, I would love to hear what you've been working on as well. If you would like to see more of these videos, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I try to make a video at least every Friday. And then I do have occasional videos midweek sometimes as well. You can also find me on Instagram at Historically Fashioned. And until next week, I hope you find time to spend some time in your creative space and create something beautiful and create something wonderful. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.